Hello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to make this video to talk about something that happened to me recently, and maybe it'll help other people out there. But first, a disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. This is not medical advice, this is only an anecdote. So if something similar is happening to you, please go to your doctor. I wanted to make this video before the year ends so that, it's still fresh. Over half a month ago, on December 10, Saturday, I woke up with my leg slightly red and kind of hurting. I don't know why. I thought that I bumped into something that I don't remember. I really don't know what I was thinking during that time, but I was putting it off. The day after, December 11, it was Manila Wrestling Federation's last show, Noche Buena 2022. It was a successful event. I did my commentary and my ring announcing. It was great. I came back home at around 11 p.m., started to relax, everything's done, and the leg wasn't hurting for the entire day. At least didn't hurt that much. But then I looked down while I was sitting right here and saw that my leg was super red and super swollen. I thought about it for 5 minutes, and then I immediately rushed to the emergency room. Going to the emergency room, for me, for the first time, it was a lot of signing forms and waiting. And I had to wait extra because I had to get a rapid antigen test. Apparently, that's their procedure before you can get any tests. So you have to wait an hour and a half extra in order to get your nose swabbed, and then an hour more to get the results. Anyway, I chose to get an MRI because I was also deathly afraid of getting deep vein thrombosis. So this was my chance to know if I have some sort of blood clot on my leg. I don't know, one of my heroes died of pulmonary embolism around 4 years ago. So, I didn't want that to happen to me. And also, I had never done MRI before, so might as well. Getting an MRI is basically a test of one's meditation ability because you have to lie completely still in there and not move. And when you have to deliberately not move a muscle, it takes a lot of effort. Now, fortunately, the MRI showed only subcutaneous edema. Vessels and nerves are unremarkable, according to the pathology. So that means they're normal. I have no blood clots, no inflammation in my nerves whatsoever. It's just subcutaneous edema, buildup of blood in the subcutaneous tissue. So the diagnosis is more or less cellulitis. How it got infected, I don't know. Maybe the skin on my leg is dried and there was a bit of a tiny crack and some bacteria got in. It turns out it tends to happen. Also, maybe you got bacteria from, like cutting your toenails in a dirty environment. I don't know. Anyway, the emergency room referred me to an orthopedic doctor. So I went to the orthopedic doctor later that afternoon after getting the MRI results. The ortho gave me a brutal course of antibiotics. Clindamycin every 6 hours. That's brutal. I've taken clindamycin before, and trust me, it is not good, because every now and then you get a C. difficile infection out of it. And when you have a C. diff infection, your poop turns to liquid. You have watery diarrhea that smells really bad. Antibiotic-associated diarrhea is not a fun time. I've been off antibiotics for over a week now. Until a few days ago, my poop was still liquid. But the leg is fine now. The redness and the swelling subsided after the 4th day of the antibiotic course. I'm fine now. Hopefully I start pooping solid again. Now let's talk about the potential dangers. Now, if I did not go to hospital right then and there, and actually put it off for a few more days, what would have happened was that my leg would have blown up like a balloon. Even then, if I put it off even more because I'm deathly afraid of hospitals or something, it could lead to sepsis, which could lead to death. It's a bacterial infection. In fact, the orthopedic doctor told me to get a blood test just to be sure, so I did. I got a complete blood count to see if my white blood cell count was elevated, because if it was greatly elevated, It means I have a systematic infection throughout my body, and by then I have to be admitted to hospital and be put on IV antibiotics. Luckily, I didn't have that. Now, cellulitis, from what I've read, can be caused by two types of bacteria, Streptococcus and Staphylococcus. Is an old enemy of mine. I used to get recurrent tonsillitis. Nowadays, I don't. That's a story for another video. But staph is really scary, and that's why the orthopedic doctor put me on clindamycin. If there's staph, clindamycin will take care of it, more or less. Well, you know, it depends on how resistant to antibiotics the bug is. There are some really incredible super bugs out there that even if you hit it with some of the strongest antibiotics known to man right now, it still be really hard to kill them. Nowadays, you got stuff like vancomycin. Now that's like hardcore antibiotics. But I don't think I had staph, because if there was staph, it could cause abscesses. I didn't have that. I only had swelling and, you know, subcutaneous edema. It was likely only strep. Now, I didn't know that you could actually get strep on, you know, skin. But at least it wasn't staph. I've seen staph infections as a mixed martial arts fan, and oh, they bore holes through you. That's really bad. As long as you address the problem early on, it should be fine. Let's talk about the signs and symptoms of cellulitis. This is what I've learned thus far with my own experience. So, redness, there will be a redness, and characteristic redness. The redness I got on my leg, it was like it was a band of redness. It wasn't just random. There was a band of redness. And there will be swelling, and you will start feeling a buildup of pressure in that leg. And also the area will be warm to the touch. And that's actually what alarmed me, because with deep vein thrombosis, that's also the symptom. It's warm to the touch. That's why I was, you know, I had to get the MRI just to be sure that it wasn't a blood clot. If it gets any worse, you definitely have to go to hospital. You have to go to a doctor, maybe your GP, or maybe, you know, do what I did, go to the emergency room. It usually happens in the leg, you know, in your extremities, but it could happen just about anywhere on your body. As long as there's skin, there could be cellulitis. But if it's on the leg, it could be either cellulitis or deep vein thrombosis. And if it is cellulitis, you'll likely get a prescription for oral antibiotics. If the condition does not improve within 3 to 4 days of taking antibiotics, you're gonna have to go back to the hospital to get on an IV drip of antibiotics. And that is all for now for you know, me getting cellulitis. I hope this video helps people out there. Again, I am not a doctor, so please, you know, go to one to be sure. And that is all for now. Until next time, stay Tor.